Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 100.7 thescore.com on a Tuesday. Is that right, Lefty?
Yeah, we're in that mode where who knows what day it is. It is a weekday. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here right
I
now.
know. It's just incredible. I was hanging out at my parents' place, and really, I don't know if it was the timing of Christmas, if it was the timing of a basketball game or whatever, but man, I got out of whack like crazy. And so good to be here with you today from the First United Bank Studios. I don't know where Choice is, but I do know I had two hosts today come in. Co-hosts, Paul Tubbs, Garrett Luft. They fought to the death. Garrett actually took this one down, even though I thought Paul looked a little bit like a biker this morning. I think
Paul's looking fit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think doing the friendship football broadcast is probably shaving the calories off of him,
toning him up.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. All the scoring, I think it just calling the game itself burns up the calories.
Now just maybe get some tackling going, then they'll be fine. Garrett Luft is in for Choice, and Lucas is here. Lucas, how was the Christmas, man?
It was good. Very enjoyable. Spent Christmas Eve with Casey and her family, and then spent Christmas Day with me and my family. So it's good to have two Christmases, but next year we're going to have one. So I'm very excited.
Luft, about you, man?
It was good. Pretty normal, pretty basic. But, I tell you what you shouldn't do is get a stomach bug right before the Christmas holiday and then watch everybody else eat all the things and everything that you see put on a table, even if you've loved it your whole life, looks as disgusting as anything possibly could be. It's a good way to not put on the pounds at the Christmas time, I guess. But
is there anybody out there that hasn't been through some kind of bug? I mean,
man, between the respiratory stuff and the stomach stuff, or do one and then do the other. I mean, I feel like there's people who have been up against it for like a month, So this has been a rough season out here.
I blame Lucas. Lucas started it all. He came around the corner one day last week. I lost my voice. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm good. And that never attacks me. And then the next morning, my voice was under attack. Had to push through that Friday ball game, which was really hard to do.
See, that's how you make a living, sir.
I know. It's scary. It's scary. My wife loses her voice all the time. Mine's still not near 100%. And you throw in the travel. I even waited a day to try and get some rest and then get up there and come back. And I'm still have you ever been to that spot where you're driving on the road and you start slapping yourself or thumping yourself or loud music or whatever? I don't know what it was, but when we made that little L turn off 40 to start going south to Lubbock, I went into basically sleep mode and had to start smacking myself. What do you use to try and stay awake?
BPM type, high beat music, movement. I get my dance club on in the seat. That's okay when I'm by myself. When you're with the folks, not so easy because no one wants to listen to your jams, and definitely no one wants to see you dance. So that one becomes a little bit more difficult. Like, hey, engage me in conversation, and when I start saying nonsensical things and shutting my eyes, grab me.
So that was my first step, and I said, Perry, dial up a quiz for me. And so we started doing general knowledge quiz questions. Some you look really good on, some you look really stupid on, but at least you're trying to stay engaged and stay awake.
Yeah. Your mind's working, your eyes are open.
And then it was just he and I in the front of a car. And he's got so many ticks. The little he sounds like a dog squeaky toy right now. So he's gone through about every, I don't know if he has Tourette's or not, but he's gone through about every tick you can have. The bouncing of the eyelids, making click pop sound. There's been a lot of easy nicknames for my son over the years because the ticks that he goes through. Now he sounds like like he swallowed a squeaky toy. So he's doing that. We don't have any napkins in my car because I'm a man and I'm not prepared. I'm not like there are men in this office that Jamie, would be completely prepared.
I got a wad of napkins in my glove box.
We've blown through that by now. So he starts using one of my windbreakers as a snot rag the entire way. I mean, just you talk about that gross out type stuff going on. I do have a great story.
Tell me it was an Oklahoma State windbreaker.
It was a Texas Tech windbreaker.
Dadgummit. Come on, Perry.
I don't wear anything orange anymore. I don't have anything. But it was actually the 2016 zip up windbreaker that I still wear. The Daryl Dora and I still enjoy wearing. It was good for the big man. So across the street from my parents' house, there's they got a nice little hoop over there. In this neighborhood, it's pretty nice. They've got everything. So go over there, and it starts off with Pig, with me and my brother and my dad. My dad's 75. He hadn't shot a ball in 20 years, probably. When he started, he couldn't get the ball there. Couldn't get it to the rim. By the end, he was almost winning Pig games. I mean, he figured it out. Like, he got it going. That was fun.
Found the touch again.
That was fun, watching him do that. So, of course, Pig is going to transition into one-on-one with me and the boy. So I beat the absolute hell out of him, and that was a lot of fun.
He's getting big enough, though, that he could choice you right in the ribs.
It's getting close. It's getting very close.
And the dad-son games can get a little violent, so you have to keep an eye on that.
I ripped and drove him like a bull a couple times, but it was amazing. About the third time, I was completely out of oxygen.
About to say, what are you playing to here? What
10.
was playing to 10 by ones and twos?
And then we had twos, yeah. The wind was
so
howling.
like you would go ahead and take a drive to the bucket, and then you'd follow up with an immediate check and a 3?
Well, no,
because that's how I play my kids.
I scored the first 7, and then I just took the next 4 points off to catch my breath. The big...
Now, 7's impressive.
Big funny point here is my wife comes over. She starts to get involved in the games because I'm out of gas. I only played 2. So I'm sitting on the curb, just dying. But they're starting to play Pig, so I want to get an angle on where I can see it because currently I'm facing the street. I get up, I start walking to the garage door, and I tell Perry, I said, the only time I saw your mama ever cry when it comes to sports was in a game of basketball in Enid when she was getting cheap shotted, and she started, she cried over it at the end because she was so mad. She worked for the Y, so she couldn't retaliate. As I'm saying that and I'm looking over at her, she shoots a shot, and I swear to you, it comes off of the rim and hits me directly in the top of the head. It hit me so hard that it knocked me down. I had a drink, and I just dropped the drink, and I'm just laying there flat. It was definitely Merry Christmas, everybody there. We'll get some headlines coming up with Luft and company here this morning on the End of the Bench.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
What you need to know is we need to know how your Christmas went. Any funny stories? Anything we'll take on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, the Visual Edge. IT hotline is 806-771-0973. We're in the First United Bank studio. Garrett Luft is with us here, pinch hitting for Choice Woodman. Last night, Baltimore beat San Francisco 33-19. Garrett, I want your thoughts on, obviously, we're going to get to a ton of Red Raider stuff, but the NFL as well. The Ravens are the best team right now, right?
I mean, quietly. I don't know that I've paid a lot of attention to them here until the last few weeks.
Ditto.
It's kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I guess these guys are, Yeah, and I typically pay more attention to the NFC than the AFC anyway. But with the Chiefs sort of demise, the usual suspects, at least lately, the Ravens have been there. But, Bengals, Bills, usually in that mix a lot more heavily. And for the Ravens just to be over there in the AFC North? The Dolphins have been there this year too, but for the Ravens just to be kind of puttering along, sort of quietly, a surprise there.
Just quietly stacking 12 wins, right?
Yeah, which, I guess the Eagles have done now too, put themselves in the driver's seat again, which is kind of gross.
I thought they were going to give it away last night with the pick six, followed by the horse collar, but the Eagles end up prevailing and put themselves in even a better position. But Baltimore is now 12-3. San Fran is now 11-4. The Dallas Mavericks are 18-12 as they knock off Phoenix 128-114. Luka, 50-point games. Just the fourth 50-point game on Christmas Day. I got to listen to a lot of Sean Kelly calling the Knicks and Bucks. And Sean Kelly was on ESPN radio for years, still is. Well, you talk about a gig. You can go be the voice of the Florida Gators, have a full-time job there, and then still fill out your ESPN contract. Guy, you talk about making gobs of money. It's unbelievable how much he's raking in. But that was fun to listen to, and it was also fun because they have all of these Christmas Day records. So that's what they're talking about there with fourth 50-point game on Christmas Day. And, they've been playing on Christmas Day in the NBA for a long, long time. Coming up today, we got the Quick Lane Bowl on 100.7, The Score at 1 o'clock. First Responders Bowl, which we thought the Red Raiders had a chance at, right?
Yeah, that would have been cooler. If you were playing a Power 5 team, if you were playing whoever's in the First Responders Bowl, maybe not. But the December 26th is cooler than December 16th. I will say that.
7:30 tonight, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl on Double T 97.3. So once you get through all that NFL, here come the bowls. Lots of bowls going on. It is interesting for me to go back to my homeland and just how much it's turned into an NBA place.
Having a team in the state.
It's been a long time now. For goodness sakes, they just voted to build a new arena. But still, it strikes me, because for years and years and years, it was OU football 1, 2, 3. Then you get to OSU football, and Dallas Cowboys, and now it's like OU football 1 closely behind, maybe even tied with the Thunder.
It's the same model you've seen in San Antonio, in terms of it's a one-horse town, and in that case, a one-horse state. And, they did a good job when they first got people, when they first came from Seattle. They brought in players that created a following that I think mattered there, but more importantly, I think it created a following beyond just the state of Oklahoma. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the NBA, so I can't say too much, but I do very much recognize that has a foothold that, is pretty unique, pretty cool.
I use my dad to judge a lot of things as far as sports viewership. He's watching the Thunder, and when I left, he had that game on at Madison Square Garden, and I was like, holy cow, my dad's watching the NBA. What's going on? This is crazy.
And I might be different about the NBA, probably not. But if there was a direct rooting interest, like in my hometown, maybe. But probably not. I just can't do it.
Trying to think of which way I'd like to steer you next. What's on the top of your mind here? Post-Christmas, we got a few days till January 1st. I won't even try to steer you. I just want to hear what's on the top of your mind.
What's funny to me, driving here today, I live, I think in the kind of your neck, not really your neck of the woods, but South Lubbock, Fat Cat Land near Jamie. And not really. I barely live outside the loop, but still. I take the West Loop around and then the North Loop across and then get here, right? So I drove past O'Banion Field today where Coronado Mustangs play baseball. And it just reminded me of the feeling that I get every year right after Christmas. Like, put up the Christmas lights, and at least in high school, how many guys can I get up to the cages and how many buckets of balls can we hit?
Okay.
Because it's time, right? That's how I always felt. Like, that, you know.
I've had very similar feelings.
To me, but end of Christmas meant it's time to start getting the arm going. And of course, I was a straight baseball player in high school, but I mean, most immediately on my mind, I think, is the Red Raider basketball team, and just hoping that some signs of consistency that have been present over the last month will continue to show themselves once Big 12 play starts. But that baseball itch is already getting to me today for sure. Yeah,
that's the same thing with my boy. I'm like, hey, you got a really good arm. We got to get this thing to where it's great. That's on my mind as well. Boy, I mean, how it's going to look for Texas Tech basketball against some of these other teams, I think we're just going to have to wait and see, because it feels like to me we're going to have a ton of small ball, and you're going to have at times 4 guards out there. You're like skipping the 3 and the 4. Because there's really no, I mean, that 3 and 4 body is Emily Yalaho, Robert Jennings, maybe Kyron Lindsay. How many minutes between those guys are you going to get?
I've been pleased with Jennings getting more time after the Cambridge injury. I mean, I won't lie about it. I was really disappointed that Jennings and Washington didn't get more time. Right? And Washington doesn't help either, but at least he's a bigger guard, kind of by comparison. I say with the guys you got right now that transferred, he's not really that big anymore, but he's not going to go play the 4 for you. And he's probably not really a 3 either. And he doesn't shoot it like a 2. So that's what makes Lamar hard to pin. But those 2 guys have played more, and I say that on Thursday afternoon. I don't feel like Lamar played a whole bunch, but he had played more in some other stretches. Jennings, I don't know how you get around not having Jennings. At least he's got a year under his belt. He still struggles to finish around the rim, but he's coming on. He got 2 dunks on Thursday. I thought, okay, that's the most he's finished, with confidence. And it's who was that? Who came in here? Somebody, one of the 310 teams that play Division I basketball came in.
Oh, UTA?
There you go. The Mavericks, UTA. And so, I'm not going to write down anything on that, because a Big 12 defense could come in here and still make it tough. For that matter, Warren Washington at 7 foot has a hard time finishing at the rim sometimes. So
he does. Who didn't was Cambridge.
Yeah, well, and that's that's the reality of it. But I do feel like quickly this staff has found some rhythm, at least. I mean, to play that game at Vince Vanderbilt, who is not very good, although they nearly knocked off Memphis the other day.
I saw that.
I guess
led for most of the game.
Yeah, they definitely could have won that one. I think that there's a little bit of something you found there that and my 15-year-old told me, that's dumb, Dad. But I said, I'm not sure some of this would have come together at this point if Devin Cambridge hadn't gone down, because these guys wouldn't have had the opportunity to have to step up. Now they don't have a choice. And what do you do to change who you are a little bit now? Even your guys that were getting minutes, how do they have to change what they're doing? Pop Isaacs hasn't been good yet, in my opinion, and he'd be far better than what he's been or could be. Take that and a lot of other pieces. I have a lot of hope, but things could also get rough.
Downtown for him is a mystery, because if you just compare, these sample sizes of 24% or something like that this year, and last year I think was 37%. That's a lot of hits from last year that have been misses this year. And it's almost like he wants to play mid-range because those aren't going down. We'll keep talking about it.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hax, Luft, and Lucas edition of the program as we welcome you into the First United Bank Studios. Thanks for being with us. Hope your Christmas was good. Mine was good. It was quick. But it was the dragging Charger made it all the way up and back. Did you hear about the Charger, what it went through?
I did not.
Me hitting a full-blown, interstate battery.
Oh.
You know how...
Just fell out of someone's vehicle?
Well, I was out there by the ball fields on, New Loop, whatever, heading towards Milwaukee, and it was dusk, and I was only rolling about 45, 50 miles an hour, and, there's a battery right in the middle of the road. That's all that's a reaction time I had. So the Charger's, low rider.
Yeah,
and
you can't steer over that one.
No swerve to miss.
And unlike a tire or even a bumper, that your tire does more damage to it than it does to you.
Yeah, this is like a grenade.
A solid block.
No, you're hitting a cinder block. Yeah. So it ripped the entire underneath out, basically. Transmission gone, but got it back.
Can't fault anybody else.
Well, I'd like to.
I know, but
it's like some kid out here just laying landmines around for me to drive over.
very uncool.
Very, very unlikely. But how are you from your Christmas turmoil?
What was that? The day after? That was the day after Thanksgiving that I decided to have my ladder go out from underneath me as I stepped onto it off the roof and went down with the ladder. I was bruised until about last week, but I still have like a dent in my rear end, like a dent. Like it's just, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I really don't know. Like there was a knot and a dent. Now there's just a dent.
Oh, no.
But there's just sort of like it's like, you got two butt cheeks, right?
Yeah.
I basically have a butt cheek and two half butt cheeks. That's what I got.
I'm sorry. That's
on my left side. And
God, you had to hit hard.
And as my family likes to make fun of me because they say I have no rear end. Like I wear jeans and it doesn't look like there's a butt there.
Right.
For a time, I definitely had a badonkadonk because I was swollen like none other. And that was an experience. Never been to the ER as an adult. Never been in an ambulance before. And my wife rejected my pleas to just let me lay in the chair, which I don't remember how I got into. And then I don't remember how I got to the ER, except for there was 4 dudes staring at me in my living room. And next thing I know, I'm getting x-rayed and stuff. I was like, yeah, well. So I also know now as an adult what it feels like to be concussed. So all the way around, we had fun times. But I did the Coors Light postgame show that night.
I know.
When you lose 57-7, you really don't have to be cognizant of what happened. You just complain. So that's what I did. No, but where my kids knew that I don't know what all I said. But I mean, when you've gone your whole life watching the Maui Invitational, and in the last 10 or 15 years, the Battle for Atlantis, and never been sniffing those tournaments, right? And all of a sudden you're in them. Like, I saw the Battle for Atlantis on TV, I guess, and I said to my kids, did we win in Hawaii today? And this was the, we smoked Michigan that day.
Okay, yeah.
That was the beat Michigan game, which, I mean, man, you've been living it. Hinkle Fieldhouse, the Bahamas. It's quite the life you've been living. But,
I know.
But
Maui the year before?
I guess I asked one time, did we win in Hawaii? And they were like, no, Dad. Remember, we beat Michigan in Atlantis. Dad, in the Bahamas. Which we had actually gone on a cruise and walked through Atlantis 2 or 3, I don't remember, 2 spring breaks ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, Dad, remember, they were telling me, you were there. We talked about, like, the ballroom. We walked past it, blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
this is where they'll play.
And then a few minutes later, I was like, which tournament are we playing in, Hawaii or Atlantis? And they were like, okay. That's what my wife said. I'm calling 911.
So
yeah.
You didn't have to spend a night, though.
No, they got me in and out. I don't remember.
Did they at least give you some good stuff?
I told them no because, and I don't know why they let me decide. Quite honestly,
Let's let this
but I remember
concussed,
I said something
bruised-
about no, I don't want my concussion to be messed up by the medicine. But I guess so. I do remember that the nurse that was helping me asked me about students that I had at Monterey when I was teaching, and at one point, I don't remember the nurse saying this, but the nurse said, maybe you should just stop talking for a little while and rest. And I was like, but I can't close my eyes. She goes, no, it's okay, I guess. And then my wife came in shortly thereafter, and she told me, you should stop talking. She didn't tell me to rest. She just said, you should stop talking. So apparently I was just
ramble on.
jabbering away at everybody in the ER because I was not myself. Or maybe that was myself. I don't know.
I am a little spooked by this time because I haven't been feeling well, and New Year's Eve is when all hell broke loose with me, and I had to do the 4 nights in the hospital. First time I'd ever been to an ER as an adult. First time I'd ever had a hospitalization. We stayed in this stupid same hotel in Fort Worth as when it all started.
No.
And it's the same upholstery when you can remember when you started going downhill. And then it was just the timing it's not right for me. It's not good. But
Well, at least no trips here. What, till the,
yeah.
what is it, the 3rd?
No, the 6th.
When did we go down there to burn orange hell? The 6th?
6th.
Okay.
And
January 6th.
we'll
so you got
find
you got what, a New Year's Day game? You got,
Yep.
is it Thursday night this week, the 30th?
Yep.
Is that right?
28th.
28th, my bad, yes. So you got some time to avoid that timeline.
All right.
Just don't get on your roof. That's my advice to you.
We still got to replace our roof.
Personal experience. Oh, man.
Yeah, from the biblical hail.
Yes.
23 just sucked so bad in so many ways. Let's check in the calendar, Lucas. It's Boxing Day, National Candy Cane Day, National Thank You Note Day, National Winers Day.
WH or WY?
WH.
Okay. Is that a term for people who make wine? Winers? Or vintners? Yeah, I wonder, because that could be a day too. But yeah, winers. So I guess, man, I don't like my gifts. My gifts weren't enough. Why did so? That's what kills me in my family now.
Did you see my Josh Young T-shirt I got?
Comparison? I did not.
It's pretty cool.
Is it signed?
Fake signed.
Fake signed.
Yeah.
That was my gift from my dad, and my son's gift from my 15-year-old's gift.
It's kind of a caricature.
Oh, I like it. Kind of a bobblehead-ish.
That's what I thought too. Bobbleheadish.
It looks like an NIL shirt. There's no Rangers logo on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I added the Rangers, and I'm sure they were like, "Who cares? It doesn't have our logo on it."
I gotcha.
And it's not our merchandise, so take a hike.
I still think it's cool, but I got the Josh Young powder blue jersey.
Yeah.
I'll wear that for a long time. Unlike Aaron Dickens, I am an adult who wears jerseys. I'm not ashamed.
Man, I'll tell you what, that can take up an entire summer of like 3 segments. Adults in jerseys, yay or nay?
But speaking of whiners, that was the problem. So my dad was there the last weekend of the regular season taking my brother and my niece to a game. And he calls and says, hey, they've got a new set of Josh Young jerseys. Do y'all want one? And of course I was like, yes. And my son was like, yes. He's like, all right, that's going to be your Christmas and your birthday. Because I'm January 4th, my son's January 3rd. So we said, okay, that's fine. Well, then my youngest son gets a bunch of stuff for Christmas. But then it becomes a comparison. Well, hold on. Those jerseys were $150. He got Air Force Ones and a Nike sweatshirt. What did my daughter get? Now everyone's doing the math. I'm like, can we just be happy that Granddad bought us gifts?
I did nothing.
Can we just be happy?
There's so much that drives me crazy, but even Steven game sucks. Got to be even. Got to be even. Got to be even. Well, you would wear me out if I said that to you. I was like, well, how do you know? What mood am I in? That's really what it matters.
Hence that today is National Winers Day.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're coming back with more here. Hour number 1 of the End of the Bench. Hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We got more coming up.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome to hour number 2 here at the First United Bank studio. And we are with you till noon today. And thrilled that you're with us. Luft, and Lucas edition of the program. Lucas, we did not pick any games last week, correct?
No.
We did?
No, we did not.
We did not. Okay.
No. I think we're done.
Yeah.
I hope we're done.
Well, I think you're probably like me when you do something for a week, week after week after week after week. I was sitting watching games going, what side am I on here? Did we pick the Cowboys? Did we?
I was doing the same thing. I was like, what team would I have picked?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Lots of sports on. It was a lot of fun to watch. But I want to start this hour with Luft. And I want to try to dive into your brain that maybe could entertain being a Florida State Seminole fan.
Oh, man.
So what I want to know is, I know you're already, let's just pretend like this is Seminole 100.7. We know we're already upset because we didn't make the Natty or the college football playoff.
Crap, I'm not a Seminole fan, and I was ticked.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But we've established that we're angry.
Yes, 100%.
Now, so I don't want to talk about that and the structure of why this team, because to me that's old news. But I do want to test the temperature here for if this is what I've been trying to do this morning and throughout this process. Am I happy with what my administration is trying to do by suing the ACC? And I'm wondering, what the hell is it do you exactly want here? And would I be happy about what they're trying to do or a little bit ticked about it? I kind of feel like I would be on the ticked side a little bit, but that's because I don't want, and I should get over this because it's already happened, but I don't want the rivalries, the pageantry and all the things that come with all the rivalries that we've already lost. I don't want any more of that to be gone. I'm already going to have to stomach OU Alabama. I don't want to have to stomach Florida State Auburn. I'd rather go Florida State Clemson, Florida State Miami. Now, I don't think I'll get all the way down to Florida State Wake Forest or anything like that. But what do you feel about this? Is this the right move, wrong move? What's going on?
Well, okay, so what I really think is going on is they don't pull this trigger unless they think they've already got a slot somewhere else, regardless of whatever anybody else is saying. And as much as I hate to say it, with the momentum you sort of feel like you have in the Big 12, I don't think it's you. I think it's the SEC, and I think that's where this is really coming from.
Yeah.
Because their ultimate purpose is just to get out of this grant of rights that they signed themselves off to for another decade and a half. And I understand that. I get it too. But do
you ever come back with, hey, but you guys put the pen to paper? You guys signed?
Yes. And that's what's frustrating about it is, well, of all the things, like your status in the ACC and your place in that conference, honestly, to me, has very little to do with what just happened to you. Like any given year, that would have been enough. And number one, but number two, I feel like the whole situation is not about the ACC failing. It's about the bowl system failing, and it's in one sport, right? Take that away, and this is, Florida State did not enter the ACC until 1991. Like, that's my lifetime, right? And Miami was, I think, shortly behind them.
Were they Big East?
I don't think they were. They were, and I'm searching this, but I unfortunately have now.
Well, now we're going to the deep recesses
inundated
here.
with Austin Community College information, which is not the ACC I was searching for. I think I want to say that they were the Metro Athletic, if that was still a thing.
So I remember watching a Gator Bowl. That was the first time I got introduced into Florida State and the chop and all that, and it was a grainy television broadcast from a Gator Bowl in like 1986, maybe something like that.
Yeah, they had. I mean,
You're telling me in '86 they weren't in the ACC?
I believe it was 1991, according to something I read the other day. I'm searching as we go here, but yeah, Metro Conference.
I'll be darned.
Metro Conference until the 90-91 season was their final season. Memphis was in the Metro Conference, I want to say. Who else was in the Metro Conference? Like, I don't even remember. Miami was in the Big East. I don't know how long they had been in the Big East, but I do remember that for sure. But I mean, yeah, you're talking about you're talking about a very, I mean, you know, because what do Texas Tech fans talk about? I mean, going to the Big 12 was something, and that was in my lifetime. That was 1995 when that became official.
Yes,
but
or 6.
What you hear about from long time, you know, diehard Texas Tech alums and fans was just the joy that came from joining the Southwest Conference. But that happened in the 50s, right? Late 40s, 50s, somewhere in there. I should know that, but I don't. That you're talking about a team that I think was thrilled, and a program that was thrilled within our lifetimes to join this conference, and now they're too good for it. They're too big for it. And they're the ones that also went in and picked up the Louisvilles and at this point, Cal, Stanford, and SMU. I mean, what are you doing? You talk about
being really stupid.
My pedigree isn't good enough in the ACC. I need something better. Let's go add Cal, Stanford, and SMU. Now, if they want to say that the leadership did that against their will, and they have been sort of I always compare any historical, like being a one-off by yourself to South Carolina because they were always doing their own thing. But that's essentially what Florida State has been. It's not like they were kosher all the way through this. They have kind of complained from the get-go, but they haven't jumped ship yet. So I don't.
You got to listen to this because this is news to me, and I'm so glad you brought it up today. The 1984-85 Metro Conference was Memphis State, Virginia Tech, Cincinnati, South Carolina, Tulane, Louisville, Florida State, and Southern Miss.
Wow. Man, Southern Miss must feel like Rice in this whole scenario. They truly got left behind. Yeah, I hear where I think you're headed, and I agree with you in the sense that this, yeah, you have to own a good part of this, and at some point, someone has to have the rationality to say, this is who we are, this is where we are, this is what we do, and some campus leadership and athletic department is going to have to. But I mean, it's too late. The ship has sailed completely on all logic and on all geographic meaningfulness. It's nonsense everywhere, and I don't think we're going to go back until the pendulum has swung all the way around.
Timetable on that yet to be seen.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Get your questions in. Still have time as we're taking you up until noon here on the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 100.7thescore.com. My question for you, best gift you got since you couldn't eat with your stomach bug. Did you get a good gift?
Yes, I've been asking for an LED shop light for my shed. I got a Home Depot gift card. I'm going to go purchase things with it later. That's as exciting as it gets.
I'll tell you what, 40. It's riveting. I got a sleep mask that has Bluetooth, so it's very soft material, and it wraps around to your ears. So I don't know if you listen to like white noise or
my
thunder
wife
rolls.
That fan. Kind of... I like the rain myself.
Me too. I like to hear the thunder. It takes me back to my homeland.
Light thunder, yeah.
Yeah. So we can go Bluetooth on that through that, and then run some thunder rolls in my ears and have the mask.
And your wife doesn't have to hear it if she doesn't want to, because it's just hooked up to you.
Correct. So there's my Josh Young t-shirt I'd really like to.
Yeah, I guess that was my Christmas present from my dad, and that was pretty great. But
my son got a cool
3 months ago.
Oh my God. Rangers championship. It's black. It's actually black and gold. So it's got the black logo and then the championship trophy, huge, printed on the back. Very.
It's all the pennants.
Yes.
It's cool. It's one of the best trophies.
No doubt. All right, let's go to the 8th Flooring Center chat line to finish this thing out. I totally forgot about old Rob Verby. Thanks for pulling that memory from the back of my noggin. You're welcome. And we'll never forget his rant. What kind of car do you drive, bro?
I know the guy on the other end of that rant too, which makes it funny.
You do?
Yeah.
You know who was targeted?
Being off air.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's great. I never knew. I had no clue.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, I get it. But it was
over the baseball roster.
Yes.
And that there was one senior on the roster, which at that point I didn't even know. I think it was just Cam Warren. It was your only senior.
Yeah, yeah.
And Verb was supposed to know that, and whoever got after him.
I mean, well, the most thankful person for that rant is Chris Snead, because it laid waste to all the Snead rants that have existed, and there have been some good ones.
Downright good ones.
Yes.
It says, I ain't got no crystal ball. That is from a Sublime song. Meaty Middle, horse name. How does Bowman have another year? Dude started in 2018. Absolutely crazy. That's like 3 COVID years. So you answered this. Repeated medical red shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say year.
So he went.
Because he played as a true freshman.
True freshman. He went West Virginia sandwiched, punctured lung.
Ugh, yeah.
Healed. Made a dive for the pylon against Oklahoma in like the last game of the regular season. He actually had Tech rolling at that point, and he made the dive for the...
And that was after he had sat out that whole stretch.
Yeah, he makes the dive for the pylon, punctures it again. And then I was talking to Mike. Mike knows all this. There was another one. Oh, broken collarbone, got landed on.
Yes, that was the next year.
The next year. So,
I don't remember what game that was, but and then he left. So he walks away as a sophomore to be junior.
2 years at Michigan.
2 years at Michigan, one of which is just a traditional red shirt, I believe. So he plays then his junior year because he's already used his red shirt. He actually competed passes in both seasons. Two completions on 4 attempts and 6 completions on 7 attempts.
Yeah, he'll go down in Michigan lore.
One heck of a quarterback rating.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has his senior year at Oklahoma State, which has now been added to by the COVID year. So he has used a traditional red shirt, a medical red shirt, and a COVID year. That is how he ended up with 7 years of college football.
So who's the guy that started at USC, West Virginia, Rice? Help me out, Lucas.
Yeah. JT Daniels.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Surely he's got to be done after this bowl game.
Yeah.
And didn't Rice pick up another significant quarterback transfer the other day from somewhere?
Wonder where.
I feel like they've been rolling in like one big name after another.
Wonder where Malik Murphy will end up.
Duke.
I wonder where Cam Ward's going to end up.
He committed to Duke.
Oh, Murphy did already?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Well, he's a large man. He's a very large human being.
Can we find the Verby rant somewhere? Yes, you can. And that takes us back to Zach Sparkman. Sparkman gave this to us earlier as we were paying our respects to Ryan Miner, who passed away over the weekend. The Miners lived in Pampa for a few years, and they were in my uncle's grade. He has a funny story about having the farthest softball throw in field day until the dang Miner twins stepped up and beat me. So I get how Cal Ripken felt, LOL. Had they not moved back to Hammond, them, Zach Thomas, and Rayford Young would have been at Pampa High School in 91 and 92.
Insane.
Whoa.
Insane. I want to say Rayford would have been a little bit on the younger side compared to those guys, but still. Probably 8th grade Rayford would have balled on everybody else in that gym.
Yeah, everybody.
Except for the minor twins. But he just would have shot it over him.
Mm-hmm. JT Daniels retired due to concussions mid-season. He also started in 2018. So we got your over-under for basketball. You got any baseball thoughts? It's close now.
Man,
I mean, if you get into January, you're a month away.
Well, my initial baseball thought is what a schedule. So much better. And really, thankfully, also at home, because you are going to get Stanford twice here in Lubbock. You're going to play road games at Arkansas and Arizona State. You're going to get Houston in here, which there's just been enough juice to that lately. Every time you run across them, it just seems like it gets, or Rice, either one, it gets weird. That'll be a fun one to have in Lubbock. BYU coming to Lubbock. Those aren't super exciting, but just non-con wise, the first 2 home series aren't going to jump off the page at you in Gardner Webb and Texas Southern, but that's really about it as far as Chump Central. And the rest of the schedule, especially those first 5 games at Arlington, Oregon State, Nebraska, Tennessee, UTA being the least of excitement, but they're playing in their home city. Those will be fun. Those will be a whole lot of fun right out of the box there. In Tennessee, I mean, that you don't get fired to play those people. Those are about the most loudmouthed, obnoxious, easy to dislike basebole people.
Outside of LSU and Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah.
Tony Vitello, you'd put him at least, okay, maybe the fan base is
I'm talking about, you said fan base. I wasn't talking about coaches.
Van Horn and whatever cat went from Arizona to LSU with a national title under his belt. Those guys at least carry some level of decorum. Tony Vitello is basically, the meme where the dude's like in 19th place on the podium at the Olympics. He's chewing the gold and flipping off the crowd. That's Tony Vitello. Please, let's get some pitching. I think we're going to swing it fine. Mm-hmm. Excited to see OKB behind the plate, too. Kevin Bizzell playing catcher is going to be fun. And the fact that there's a whole pile of guys that want and probably can earn that spot at third base behind him, you're going to be fine on that side, I think. Can you throw it or not? Let's throw it. Let's throw a lot of strikes past people.
Let's throw it like 2019 and like it was going to be in 2020.
Don't say it.
I know.
Yeah.
Love, thanks, man. It was fun.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
You won the bid contest at the start between you and Tubbs, who both showed up for the role. Congratulations on winning that. For Luft and Lucas, I'm Hax. We'll get in here tomorrow with Choice and myself. Until then, adios, muchacho.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.